When the church asked me to serve as a woman, my first response is, of course not, I'm a woman. And because that's what I knew the right answer was. But I feel like God has always drawn me to him. And I'd had an experience at a retreat where we sang a song called, "Here I Am, Lord, Is It I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me, I will hold your people in my heart." And I just had an experience with God at that point, like he's saying, this is for you to pay attention to.
Meet Marcie Winans Bertalotto. Marcie graduated from Fresno Pacific College in 1978 with a degree in history. She was active in student leadership and served as ASB president in her senior year. She obtained her Master of Arts degree in student development from Azusa Pacific University in 1981. Marcie then came back to work at FPU for 15 years, including 5 years as our Dean of Students. In 1996, she earned her MDiv in Christian Education from the Mennonite Brethren Biblical Seminary, where she found a new calling to ministry, serving in the role of pastor at her local church.
I was looking at Christian colleges in Campus Life magazine, and I didn't want to go to LA. And there were 2 colleges north of LA, and that was Simpson College in San Francisco and Fresno Pacific in Fresno, or Pacific College then. So my parents and I drove over here and looked at this school, and I was sure they weren't going to let me come because in the basement of Whitmarsham Quad there was a pool table, and that was against our rules as a family. And I was so afraid when we got the tour and we went down there, I thought, oh, they'll never let me come now because there's a pool table down here. But I came to Fresno Pacific because it was a Christian college, not in LA. I was a great student in high school. I got A's always in English, and I took a class from Wilford Martin's, and my first paper was a C. I was shocked. And so then, but for me, that just meant, okay, so I got to figure out what it is I'm missing. And he was helpful. He goes, well, I think this is better, and you should think about this, and when you write, you want to talk about that, and helped me be a better writer. I took Japanese history from Bob Enns, and he had us over to his house for a Japanese dinner. All those kinds of things, you're working with faculty, but they are interested in you as a person, and I wanted to know what they knew. And I wanted to be the people that they seemed to be. I had no idea what Anabaptists were when I came here, and when I'd go home and say, I came from a Baptist school, and I'd go home and say I'm at an Anabaptist school, and they say, what's an anti-Baptist school? But it changed my whole perspective of discipleship. All of a sudden, I had an understanding of a peace position that I'd never had before. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, that's what I learned. And I'm not sure that that's what my parents taught me as much as that's just what the system was. And I came here and I found out you could be peacemakers, and you could live a simple lifestyle, and you were supposed to love each other. And all the ideals of Anabaptism, I just remember thinking, oh, that's what I can do. Oh, that's better. Of a simpler lifestyle of choosing to be a peacemaker instead of not, of thinking differently about people. For me to care about the least of these, which is what I picked up, and I don't know if that was my sensitivity or if somebody was actually teaching me that, but that's what my experience at Fresno Pacific did for me. And then I got involved in Mennonite institutions, Mennonite Brethren institutions, and was around people who had those ideas and those thoughts. And so I think Fresno Pacific introduced me to a new way of following Jesus, and that's changed how I live my life. Gary Noctegal was the dean of students, and the woman that was in charge of dorms basically lived on campus. She and her husband lived on campus, but they mostly were there to help with a case of emergencies. There was no leadership development program or anything like that. And Gary said, hey, there's this new program at Azusa Pacific. If you applied for that and got in, if you went and did that, we could hire you when you got out to come back here and take care of the dorms. And I went to the program, and people were there. They wanted to be career counselors. They wanted to be deans of students. They wanted to do anything in student life, health services, all kinds of things like that. And I just loved the whole realm of student development. So I came back to Pacific College to take the job Gary had said I could have, and I was in charge of the dorms. And then I became director of residence life, so I was in charge of all the dorms. And then I became assistant dean of students. And then I became dean of students over time. And I believe that's what God wanted me to do, and I believe that that's what I was created to do. And I thought, this is my goal in life. What am I going to do now? I'm only 30. If you make your goal in life, that's kind of young. So then I wondered what else is going to happen to me. I decided I would finish seminary. I already had a year. I'd taken classes off and on, thinking maybe I'd do counseling or something. I would get a D-Min in church leadership at Fuller. And in that year, I said to the church, well, maybe I could take care of children's ministries, though I've never enjoyed children, and maybe I could serve as the secretary, though I can't do anything secretarial. But it would be something I could do, and then I would substitute teach on the side, and then I could help the church, because I had a passion for the church as well, and anything where God is at work. And they said, well, if you want to work at church, we'd like you to be a pastor. I said, I can't do that, I'm a woman. And they said, but we would want you to come and serve and preach and marry people, and we'd want you to be a pastor. And then the Lord took me on another journey that just was awesome and amazing. Yeah, I care that people know God for who He is and how good He is and how faithful He is, and that He makes a difference. And I'm sad for all the people that have learned differently. And seminary and Fresno Pacific gave me tools to know differently.